Welcome to This Explainer. We are jumping right into a fascinating story today. We're going to uncover how a quiet family redemption story actually birthed a royal lineage. It's an incredible look into the legal customs of ancient Israel. I'm literally so thrilled you're here because this is an absolute masterclass in how everyday integrity shapes the future. We're traveling back in time to an ancient sunlit Israeli city. We'll be looking closely at the specific events recorded in the Book of Ruth, tracing a lineage that leads directly to one of history's most famous figures.
Now, to really understand this historical turning point, we have to look at a strange custom. It served as the ancient equivalent of a binding contract. You might be wondering, what does a worn leather sandal have to do with establishing a royal dynasty? Well, as we're going to see, straight from the source text, a simple exchange of footwear is the absolute linchpin of this entire narrative. It's a highly physical, tactile act that carried enormous legal weight back then. Section 1. The City Gate Courtroom, where ancient law and life intersected.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Our explainer begins by stepping into the dusty, sunlit public square. This was where all official civic business took place. To initiate an official proceeding, a very specific protocol had to be followed. Listen to this. Ruth chapter 4, verses 1 and 2 states, "Then went Boaz up to the gate, and sat him down there. And, behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city, and said, Sit ye down here. And they sat down. So Boaz deliberately gathers this unnamed kinsman, and exactly 10 elders right at the city gate. This wasn't some private, shady, backroom deal. It was a highly visible, completely public legal negotiation.
Section 2. The right of redemption, and preserving the family name. With the court now officially in session at the gate, Boaz kicks off the discussion. It's about the right to redeem a parcel of land belonging to their deceased brother, Elimelech. To really grasp what's happening here, we need to understand the concept of the kinsman redeemer. Basically, this was a male relative who held the legal privilege and the responsibility to buy back lost family land. Ruth chapter 4 verses 3 and 4 describes Boaz offering this exact right to the closer relative. Boaz explains that Naomi is selling Elimelech's land, and he tells the kinsman, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. And initially, the unnamed kinsman totally agrees. He says, I will redeem it. But hold on, notice the sudden shift in the negotiation between these two guys. Ruth chapter 4 verses 5 and 6 reveals a massive catch. Boaz tells the kinsman that on the very day he buys the field, he must also buy it of Ruth the Moabites, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Well, upon hearing this, the kinsman immediately backs out. There's no way he's doing it now. In Ruth chapter 4 verse 6, the kinsman states, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Just like that, he surrenders his right to Boaz.
Section 3. The Sandal Exchange Ritual, Sealing the Covenant.
So this brings us to that highly specific tactile cultural practice we hinted at earlier. How did they sign a contract back then without paper or pens? Ruth chapter 4 verse 7 explicitly outlines this completely fascinating legal custom. It states, Now this was the manner in former time in Israel, concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor. And this was a testimony in Israel. Think about that. A simple hand offering a sandal was the ancient equivalent of our modern-day signature or a notary stamp. It sealed the whole shebang. It was a very clear three-step process. First, pluck off the shoe. Second, give it to the neighbor. And third, thereby establish a legal testimony in Israel. Ruth chapter 4 verse 8 instructs us on exactly how this concluded between the two men. It states, Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, Buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. Boom. With that incredibly simple transfer of footwear, the legal right of redemption was officially and permanently passed to Boaz.
Section 4. The Blessing of Obed and the Restoration of Naomi.
Now, with the legal matter completely settled via this sandal exchange, Boaz formally claims Ruth and the inheritance before all the witnesses right there at the gate. The absolutely crucial point here is that Boaz makes his intentions undeniably public. In Ruth chapter 4 verse 9, Boaz tells the elders and the people, Ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's. Then Ruth chapter 4 verse 10 states, Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. He's making absolutely sure the deceased's name lives on.
And the community's reaction? It is just incredible. Ruth chapter 4, verses 11 through 15 details this beautiful outpouring of blessings. The people and the elders confirm, saying, "We are witnesses." They bless Ruth, asking the Lord to make her like Rachel and Leah, who literally built the house of Israel. They pray Boaz's house will be like the house of Perez. Furthermore, after Ruth and Boaz marry and have a son, the local women bless Naomi. In Ruth chapter 4, verses 14 and 15, the women tell Naomi that the Lord has not left her without a kinsman, and that this child will be a restorer of her life and a nourisher in her old age. They even note that Ruth is better to Naomi than 7 sons.
This really illustrates the emotional peak of the entire narrative. Ruth chapter 4, verses 16 and 17 state, "And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. And the women her neighbors gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David." This was an incredibly intimate, joyful resolution for the family. But the significance goes so far beyond just a happy ending. This newborn Obed marks the very first link toward a momentous royal future.
Section 5. The lineage of David and the generational payoff.
Our explainer now traces this incredible generational passing, proving how this single, everyday legal act completely shifted the course of history. The text ends with a powerful genealogical record. Ruth chapter 4, verses 18 through 22 meticulously charts this lineage. Let's read exactly what it states. "Now these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nachshon, and Nachshon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David." Tracing this timeline, we see the direct connection. From the generations of Pharez down to Boaz, then to Obed, Jesse, and finally, King David. That legal transaction at the city gate literally made way for a king.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to consider this. A man gave up his shoe at a city gate, a woman remained exceptionally loyal to her mother-in-law, and a righteous man honored the law of redemption. These weren't massive world wars. They were quiet, personal, everyday choices. So I leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. How might our smallest acts of integrity, our own simple agreements, and everyday decisions be shaping history generations from now? Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep seeking, keep studying, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.